Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a packed episode that covers all the most intriguing rumors, signings, and potential blockbuster moves swirling around Major League Baseball. We're talking free agency, trade whispers, rotation shake-ups, bullpen overhauls, basically every rumor that might shake up spring training and beyond. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's dive. First up, let's talk about Framber Valdez and the buzz around him possibly landing with the New York Mets. Valdez has long been considered one of the more stable, dependable arms in the free agent pool. Pitchers like him, consistent innings, deep postseason experience, they rarely come up for grabs. With the Mets looking carefully at their pitching depth and planning for a long season, adding a veteran like Valdez could give them real rotation stability. Rumors suggest some execs believe New York could make a strong push. If that happens, it's a signal the Mets aren't simply reloading, they're angling for another serious run next year. But Valdez isn't the only name creating chatter. On the trade rumor front, there's increasing talk about possibly dealing around established starters like Marcus Stroman or cycling younger arms in order to bring back high-impact hitters or bullpen pieces. The trade market for starting pitching appears lively, and the Mets, with their financial muscle and history of aggressive offseason moves, are squarely in the mix. Switching gears, there are growing whispers involving José Berríos and Glasnow. Both pitchers have had their ups and downs, and both seem to be drawing interest around the league. The idea, a trade that could shake up rotation dynamics for several clubs. Glasnow, especially, has drawn repeated attention. His upside is undeniable when healthy, a high-velocity arsenal, a chance to dominate hitters, but also risk given his injury history and inconsistency. Some of the rumors floating around suggest that a team in win-now mode might be willing to gamble on that upside. Others think a trade for Berríos might be a more stable bet, especially for clubs that value consistency over boom or bust potential. Meanwhile, off-season moves in the bullpen space have also sparked plenty of interest. The biggest headline perhaps, Ryan Helsley now reportedly signed with the Baltimore Orioles on a 2-year, $28 million deal. That's right, after a turbulent 2025 splitting time between teams and dealing with rough patches, Helsley's getting a fresh start, and Baltimore is banking on him reclaiming his closer's form. Helsley hasn't been a stranger to dominance. His track record includes all-star appearances, top-tier velocity, and closing out big games. It's a high-risk, high-reward move by the Orioles, but if he bounces back, their late-game bullpen could become one of the most feared in the league. For Helsley, this could be a career-defining rebound. That said, yes, Mets fans are watching all this with interest or anxiety, because if the Mets land someone like Valdez, or if Berríos to Glasnow rumors turn into a real deal, or if bullpen arms like Helsley become available, suddenly Queens looks a lot more dangerous. There's also chatter the Mets may not stop at pitching. There are whispers about potential upgrades in the offense and outfield depth. If both rotation and bullpen get overhauls, their 2026 contention hopes could be real. But let's step back a moment and talk about the bigger picture. Why is this offseason so active in terms of pitcher movement and roster speculation? Well, a few factors converge. First, as always, pitching wins championships. Teams know that postseason success often comes down to whether you can get consistent, effective innings from starters and lockdown performance in the late innings from the bullpen. Second, the margin between competing clubs is razor thin. A single dominant starter or a high-velocity closer can push a good playoff team into serious contender status. And third, with some contracts expiring and aging rosters needing retooling, front offices seem more willing to gamble, roll the dice on upside or trade risk. Let's zoom in on a few hypotheticals that the rumors point toward. Suppose the Mets do land Valdez. Suddenly their rotation, which may have looked shaky or risk-prone, becomes stable, deep, and playoff-ready. That would free up flexibility. Maybe they deal a mid-tier starter for offensive help. Maybe they invest in bullpen depth without sacrificing rotation quality. Suppose a team trades for Glasnow. If healthy and on, that could mean a high-reward arm with swing and miss potential. But the risk is high: elbow issues, inconsistency, days off between starts. That kind of trade would be a statement: we believe in boom or bust. Suppose Helsley nails down the closer role in Baltimore and returns to 2024 form, high velocity, confidence, ability to shut down lineups. The Orioles bullpen becomes a fearsome late-game weapon. That alone could transform tight games, where a single save can shift standings and postseason hopes. And because these moves aren't occurring in isolation, there are interlinked domino effects. A pitcher moving from one team triggers another team to re-evaluate its rotation, a bullpen signing frees up funds or roster spots for other moves, a trade involving prospects could shape a franchise's trajectory for years. Now, what about concerns? Risk is part of the equation. Injuries remain a wildcard. Every arm carries the threat of setbacks. Performance volatility can derail even the most enticing trade. And beyond health, there's the question of fit. Will a pitcher adapt well in a new clubhouse? Handle pressure? Thrive under new coaching? Pitching isn't just physical, it's mental, and change of team can disrupt rhythm. Let's also not forget the human angle. Players uprooted, traded, moved, re-signed. For a guy like Helsley, this deal with Baltimore might be more than a contract. It could be redemption, a chance to show what he's capable of after a rough stretch. For a team like the Mets, bringing in new arms could reshape clubhouse chemistry and longer-term team identity. Looking ahead, the next few weeks leading up to spring training, and especially around the league's winter meetings, are going to be vital. That's when many of these rumors will either fizzle or crystallize into actual deals. Fans everywhere should be watching, especially in cities with shifting bullpens or rotation gaps. For the neutral fan, it's an exciting time. We might see bold moves, some paying off, some backfiring. But that's what makes baseball so compelling: the uncertainty, the strategic gambles, the possibility of both glory and heartbreak. So, if I were a betting fan, I'd keep a close eye on three names: Valdez for rotation security, Glasnow for upside and fireworks, Helsley for bullpen dominance. Each carries different risk-reward profiles, but each could significantly shift the balance of power among contenders. Before we wrap up, what does all this mean for the upcoming season? It means we're likely in for one of the more dynamic off-seasons in recent memory. We could see rosters get rearranged, stars change uniforms, and fortunes shift. Postseason hopefuls might snap into serious contenders. Contenders might double down. And teams that sit still, well, they risk falling behind fast. If these rumors turn into moves, and I believe at least a few will, we're looking at a 2026 season filled with renewed competition, bullpen wars, and starting pitching dominance. The kind of season that reminds you why you love baseball. Alright, that wraps up today's deep dive. If you're as hyped as I am about what's coming, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below. Which scenario do you think plays out most? Mets sign Valdez, Glasnow finds a new home, or Helsley resurrects his closer's career in Baltimore? Let's talk in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time when we break down the official moves and what they mean for the 2026 season. Peace out.